Hi everyone, I'm Daniel, and I've been playing quite a bit of the new cards from the Feast of Hemlock Vale recently, and so have my friends, and today I'd like to share with you some of the cards that have impressed me the most. What do I mean by this? Well, going back to my first impressions of the cards, there certainly were quite a few I wasn't so excited about, but now, having played some of them, or having seen them played, I can appreciate them quite a bit more. I either didn't quite see the use of them or didn't think they'd be as consistent, but after having some actual experience with them, I think they're pretty good at what they do. I picked out 5 cards to share with you today, although there are certainly a few others that might show up on a future list. Let's start off with Tinker. I played this in my Wilson Richards deck, of course, but I've also seen it played in Joe Diamond. At this point in the game's life, there are so many neat combos of cards that I'd like to play that are only gated by the slots available to you. Having only 2 hand slots can be rough. Either you're choosing a 2-handed weapon and basically nothing else can go into play, or you have to stick to one-handed weapons and fill that other hand slot with something else to investigate with. While I think 2-handed weapons are great, I'm always sad to not be able to hold anything else. Early on in the game, the designers gave us Bandolier to solve this problem. Of course, having to play a Bandolier added yet another card to the combo, and you need to play them in the right order. Bandolier also takes up a slot, although it is one that is not as contested, but I'm increasingly finding ways to fill it with something else. We're starting to get more ways to hold things, though. Hidden Pocket and Tool Belt came out in the last set, and now we have Tinker. It's fast and cheap, which is excellent, and allows a tool to take up one fewer slot. Tools are great. There are a lot more of them than you think nowadays. Flashlight is a tool. Thieves Kit is a tool. Pocket Multi-Tool is a tool. But there's actually quite a few weapons too, like Sledgehammer and Pitchfork. You're still going to run into the play the things in the right order problem that Bandolier has, unless all of your hand slot items are tool traded. This is probably the case for Wilson Richards, who loves Tinker, but also Kate Winthrop, who might also be able to make use of that extra accessory slot part of Tinker that easily flies under the radar. Another good idea would be to play this in Daniela Reyes, whose mechanics wrench is incredible, but often I can't put it into play. Next up is Chemistry Set. I alluded to this a second ago, but having seen this be played in a campaign, I quite like it. A basic investigate on an asset doesn't seem that good, but the accessory slot is often unused at level 0 in Seeker, and the payout here is really intriguing. Extra cards, resources, or maybe even an extra clue? Especially when you add in steady-handed, these really aren't maybes anymore. I saw Kate Winthrop hit the extra clue almost every round. If you're auto-fail averse, just don't take the test on a 2-shroud location, otherwise you will have to discard it since you will have failed by exactly 2. I don't think it's that tough to get into play and use it instead of your basic investigates every round. Nice addition to the card pool. In Rogue, I've chosen Bewitching. This always looked good to me as a variant of Stick to the Plan, but now that I've played with it, I think that it's completely different. Just like Stick to the Plan, it has the benefit of removing 3 cards from your deck, which can improve your opening mulligans, but unlike Stick to the Plan, these are generally not ones you wanted in your opening hand either. Instead, you're going to save these cards for when you engage an enemy. Now, there are tons of different kinds of trick cards out there, mostly events, but even a few assets and skills too. My experience with this card has been to use the bottom ability as much as possible for extra card draw and filtering. It's kind of weird because you do have the option to just draw a card for free off of Bewitching, but to me, rocketing through your deck is even better. Remember, the bottom ability lets you look at the top 9 for a copy of any of the 3 cards that are attached. If you're able to leave them there for the whole scenario, you can keep doing this after your deck reshuffles. I'm intrigued to play this in a deck that wants to do a lot of searching anyways, perhaps to trigger Astounding Revelation or other research cards. I think how you use this card is going to depend a lot on which cards are attached to it and what your team composition looks like. Really looking forward to seeing how the community ends up playing it. Okay, next, I do not have a Mystic card for this list. I haven't played enough of the new Mystic cards, and of the ones that I have, they seem exactly as expected. Olive 2 is good. Read the Signs 2 is good. So we'll move right along to Survivor, and I've picked Stall for Time. Okay, I really think people are sleeping on this card. I think most players get stuck in the hole My cards need to either kill an enemy or get multiple clues mindset, not realizing that the game designers have been trying to push back on this strategy working all the time. This card solves an enemy for 2 turns, only costs 1, and if you fail, you even get to try it again. It's even a parlay, which actually matters beyond the whole no attack opportunity thing. It means you can choose an enemy not engaged with you, which is often the problem with evasion. You don't really want to spend your actions moving into a location, engaging an enemy off of a friend, and then evading it. Okay, it also works on aloof enemies. I don't know if you've noticed, but the last 2 campaigns have a lot of aloof enemies that do something nasty if they are ready and at your location. Yes, you can just engage and kill most enemies, but what if you didn't have to? What if instead of getting bogged down with combat, you just get through the scenario faster? Stall for Time's big brother is definitely Confound, which pretty much does the same thing, but gets you the clues as well. Also, a great card. Finally, I'm throwing in a neutral card. I'm impressed with Well Dressed. It's nothing fancy, but I think I like this in lower player counts as an alternative to Fine Clothes when you've included Fine Clothes as scenario tech, for example, at the beginning of the Path to Carcosa, or especially the Forgotten Age. I'd rather have Fine Clothes in a more parlay-focused deck for the consistency, but Well Dressed does exactly what it says, helps you beat a tough parlay test, and you can bet that there's going to be even more of those going forward. I should also mention it's practiced, so it could fit nicely in with decks that are already running Practice Makes Perfect, and hilariously, it's also a fortune, so Rex Murphy can't take it. That's it. Thank you for watching. What cards have you played with so far that are better than you expected? I'm very pleased that the set as a whole has a lot of very interesting cards that are very playable without much that seems like it's overpowered. It's a great showing for the new design team, in my opinion.